Satisfactory has accomplished what many AAA studios get massively wrong. They've created a good game. Not only that, but they've made a game that doesn't crucially depend on players spending money on in-app purchases, otherwise known as microtransactions.
If you wanted to complete the entire battle pass in the US, that would be about $500.
This is one of many reasons why players and fans alike love Satisfactory and the team behind it. But what if they released a DLC? Would you buy it? And what would it contain? Well, let's put our conspiracy hat on and let's find out. I'm the Valhalla Pickle, a Satisfactory content creator, and let's get straight into the video. Most important thing that they could probably add in the new DLC is a new biome. And the reason for this is because this new biome will essentially act like a fresh canvas for the game. This is where we can have a bunch of new additions in Satisfactory that can all be based around this one island or this one biome. I teased this volcano image as a community post here on my channel, and the comments to it were really cool to see. You guys also had some fantastic ideas as well. The volcano biome would be really cool and obviously kind of challenging as well. Obviously the entire island or biome won't be made from one volcano that's got constant lava flowing on it. However, it's going to be a portion of the island. The remainder of it will most likely be terrain that you can explore and gather resources in. I keep saying the word island because it would be the easiest thing to incorporate into the game rather than an entire new biome attached onto an area like the dune desert or the swamp or the grass fields. This will just be a lot easier. Also, I would never say no to a map expansion, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a volcano biome. It could be a regular grass biome as well. This will also be flat as well, which is ideal for building, just like the grass fields that we currently have in the game, except this will be a much more of an overhaul. It will look slightly different trees in the area as well, but overall it will act as a very similar biome, just a bit of an upgrade in a different location as well. Potentially you'll want a snowy biome. This could also look absolutely incredible as well, and of course it will give us that Christmassy winter vibe that we always love. Or how about even an underwater biome? As we know, there is so much water in Satisfactory, it is almost everywhere. So it would be really cool if we could somehow dive underneath the map and explore these underwater biomes, maybe even get some oil from under the water and some gas and then get that up. That could be pretty cool, but let's see how it's gonna go. Essentially, the possibilities are endless, but no matter what biome they add, whether it's an island or just a regular biome attached into the Satisfactory world, it would be a really great addition into the game. One main reason for this is that this new biome can have biome-themed mobs and bosses. That is right, I think that Satisfactory should add a boss into the game. They have actually teased this many years ago, but I believe they said that they weren't going to do it, which is a bit of a shame. But with a DLC, you never know. I think personally that would be awesome. As of the minute, we have got biome-themed mobs. However, we haven't really got biome-themed bosses, which is again why I thought that would be really cool to add into the game. Like imagine if you had this hog in the grass fields, for example. It would look horrifying, but also kind of cool. And also, in case you couldn't tell, this is my first time using ChatGPT, and wow, I wish I had this thing in school. This thing is broken as hell. Just very quickly, if you enjoy videos like this and you want more guides, tips, and tricks, then feel free to subscribe if you wish. You don't have to, but it's a good way to support the channel. You'll also get notified whenever I drop one of these videos. Thank you for all the continued support on the channel, but without further ado, let's get straight back into the video. I honestly believe that new mobs, and especially, again, new bosses, would be relatively exciting, and they always are, because you never know if they're going to be overpowered or just crap. You never know sometimes, but the majority of the time they are good fun to go up against, and fingers crossed they won't be too difficult. Furthermore, these mobs could actually be quite a fun part of a storyline, which brings us on to our third point. An additional storyline for the Satisfactory world. I haven't yet completed the original storyline, so don't worry, there won't be any spoilers for that because I don't even know what it is yet. However, it would be quite nice if we could have a continuation of that storyline or a bit of a side quest from it in a new DLC. And the game that you're seeing in the background is Horizon Forbidden West, which has an amazing story behind it, so Just thought I'll chuck that in there. I know that quite a lot of open world games do this, where you've got a main quest and a bunch of different side quests. I'm not necessarily asking for like 100 different side quests, but one different story for the DLC would be really cool, because this will get us to actually adapt with our new biomes that we're going then, that we get to explore the world based on what we want to see and also what the game might want us to see first. Essentially, this story will act like a bit more of a guide towards the DLC. Because the last thing you want to do, especially if this is a volcano biome, is venture into the center of the map and then realize you're kind of screwed because you're surrounded by molten ash and lava. Also, I'm one of those people that just love stories. Like, I think they're really cool in video games, especially when they are done right. And if Satisfactory was going to add a story to this DLC, it will most likely evolve around Ada, since I think she's a pretty interesting part of the DLC. But also, just thinking of an example off the top of my head, what if there was a Fixmas expedition that went onto this biome, onto this island, and it crashed? Except they lost some very important documents that Fix-It tried to hide. But now you found it, and Ada does not want you to find these documents, so she tries to sway you away from these documents themselves. But it turns out that there's something hidden on the island, and it's your goal to try and find what it is. And it turns out that this hidden thing, whether it's a sword or I don't know, like an important item, can change the course of the world for the worse, and that's why Ada didn't actually want you to find it. She was actually trying to help you, and little things like that. I think that could be absolutely incredible because it hooks you into the game, it hooks you into the DLC, and it gives you some additional Satisfactory lore, which I absolutely love video game lore, so I'll be very happy with this personally. Something else I'd also be extremely happy with is new ores. In Update 1.0, they've added a lot of really cool and awesome ores into the game, which of course is fantastic, but a lot of people have already finished 1.0, and they're looking for something new to do. So in this DLC, if they were to add just a handful of new ores, that would be incredible. It doesn't necessarily have to be biome-themed ores, but if it was, that would be fantastic. For example, if it was a volcano island, like I keep talking about, what if they were to add obsidian into the game? That could be awesome. Or if it was an ice-themed biome or a snowy-themed biome, what if they were to add some snowy-themed objects into the game, like igloos around the map, or snow blocks that you could then use to build with? But more about building new objects in just a minute. Going back to the new ores and potential items that they could then create, I think that if they were to add new items into the hub or into the phases, they should not create new phases or tier 12 or 11 of the hub. Instead, what they should do is incorporate these items into the currently existing phases and tiers into the game. This way, you don't have to wait until 500 hours into your playthrough to actually get new items. Instead, you'll be able to unlock it in tier 1 and tier 2, very early game. This way, again, everyone gets to experience the new items ASAP, rather than having to wait for too long. Finally, something which I desperately hope they add if Satisfactory was to make a new DLC, is decorations and objects. We currently have a decent amount of decorations and buildables in the game, however I wish they would make a little bit more. For example, vegetation. I know they said that they were never going to add vegetation into the game, and that's okay. But I do honestly think that it would be really cool being able to place down trees, or even just saplings that eventually grow into trees, or bushes and rocks. I would absolutely love if they were to add that. I know they said that they weren't, but from a DLC point of view, I think this would be incredible. So we've discussed a few things that could be in the Satisfactory DLC, but it all comes down to the question, could we see a Satisfactory DLC actually happen in the year 2025? Well, the short answer is yes, and the long answer is I really bloody hope so. Like we briefly talked about in the introduction of today's video, Satisfactory has got a really strong fan base and a community, and because of the game being so good, I'm sure many of those people will most happily be wanting to financially support this game again. So if they were to release a DLC for like $15 US or about $20 US maybe, then yes, I think people would most certainly buy that DLC. Especially if it contains everything we've talked about today, that new biome or that island from earlier, a new mob or a boss fight, a continuation of the story mode, new ores, decorations, buildable objects. I think that would be absolutely remarkable. I know for a fact I would most likely pay for it. In fact, I would pay for it because it would be really cool. Additionally, you have to remember that Satisfactory is a good game as well. It's not like this game's had a very rocky 4 years. From what I've seen and from what I've experienced, yes, there has been a couple bugs along the way. I'm struggling to think of a game that hasn't had bugs since launch, but overall, this game is generally fantastic, and I'm really happy what it's done with the community, and in general, it's just been a fantastic experience. So from a financial standpoint for Coffee Stain Studios, the developers of Satisfactory, I don't see a reason why they wouldn't release a DLC, because again, there are hundreds of thousands of people that I'm sure would pay for a DLC if it's relatively cheap. If it's like $50, then probably not, but considering the game's only like $30 as of right now, US dollars, then I think the DLC will be relatively cheaper as well, which should be fantastic. So yes, I think that we could see a Satisfactory DLC happen in 2025, and if not, then hopefully 2026, because the game deserves it. Regardless, thank you very much for watching today's video. If you were to add anything into a Satisfactory DLC, what would it be? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching, and have an amazing rest of your day. Before we go, a massive shout out to the Knights of the Realm channel members. We have Asuna Ayuki, Variance, Natormal, Yamikel Burns, Chaos Rising, Scotland Hattie, and Mau Mau. If you decide to become a Knight of the Realm for just £2.99 a month, you get access to channel-only emotes, unique badges, and also shoutouts in videos. Memberships are the best way to support my channel, but you don't have to become a member. Even just by watching today's video, you are supporting the channel massively. Here's a couple more videos I've made that you might be interested in. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Have an amazing rest of your day, and remember, Godspeed.